Hmm. Well, it is the month of April, April 14th, I believe. Yes, 2021. Ooh, something in my eye. Oh my God. Well, I had a very interesting morning with my grandson, Caden. We went for a little ride this morning. I'm feeling very calm and very relaxed. A few things in my mind I thought I'd share with you. I am okay. I'm okay. You know, most seers and prophets, uh, especially in the Old Testament, have often been called out of sorts. Um, Sometimes a little crazy, a little mad. It's only in hindsight, after the fact, that people realize that people like Noah and many others were actually intact with things that are taking place, with things that are coming. So often I've been told that I'm ahead of my time. No, I'm not ahead of my time. I just see ahead of my time. There's a difference there. But anyway, uh, Noah prophesied for many years it's going to rain, and people didn't believe him. They didn't take notice of what he was saying until after the fact. When the day that the flood came, of course, everybody at that time wanted to get in the ark, for safety. But too late. So, you know, ever since I can remember, from the age of being 9 years old, I've had visions of things of the future and things that are taking place. And in fact, my mother was afraid of me, not afraid of me, she was afraid that people would reject me and probably do me harm if I told some of the things I actually saw. And because of that, she feared for me. She's since transitioned. But I think it's necessary uh, that you be aware of these things so that we can prepare ourselves spiritually, not so much physically or materialistically, but spiritually, uh, in connecting and staying in touch uh, with the source, the infinite spirit, God, that lives within us, of whom we all are one with Him, manifesting in the earth, in the universe. Um, and these are things that people don't like to hear, because we simply want to have a good time, and there's nothing wrong with that. Have a great time, have a good time, live the best life you can with the information you have been provided with. Um, but there are things that are going to manifest in the future or take place in the future, and if we are grounded, if we are grounded in truth, and if we have made that divine connection. I'm not talking about mentally now. I'm not talking about intellectually. I'm speaking about spiritually. Made that inner connection with the spirit, infinite spirit God that lives within each and every one of us. As I used to say years ago, every man is a drop of God. Every man is a drop of God enclosed in flesh and have the ability to create and to manifest things. There are things that are going to come forth. First of all, and this is in the book of Revelation, there's a third of mankind will be destroyed, a third of the vegetation and so forth will be destroyed on this planet. Um, the and I'm not. I'm not illusioning anything, but uh, I can show you scriptures in the Bible that speaks about this, and it doesn't tell you how in the book of Revelation these things are going to happen, but they're going to happen. There is some kind of nuclear blast is going to take place, and not so much from the people on the planet, uh, but there are whether it be satellite uh, rays that are blasting from space or whatever. But we're going to have visitors from outer space, and when they come, they are not coming in peace. This particular group will come with a vendetta, and that is to wipe out humanity. And I know a lot of you don't believe in aliens and so forth, but it was all throughout the Bible, if you just take the time to look and ask the questions. Um, but during this process, many lives will be lost. Many, many lives will be lost and wiped out. And the government knows this. They know this already, and they are trying their best to prepare for it. It's inevitable. They can't stop it. They can't control it. It's going to happen. Um, some of us may be alive when it takes place. Some of us are not. And the reason I'm not going into all kind of details with you, but the reason I'm making you aware of this is so that you can prepare your mind, your spirit, yourself, and also you can prepare your grandkids and your great grandkids if you have them around them. Encourage them as Timothy grandmother encouraged him in the faith. Um, in the faith. Uh, it's important that you know, your grandkids know, your great grandkids understand who they are, who they truly are. I'm not talking about the flesh now, but who they are by the Spirit. Um, because once you know who you are, you also know that your spirit soul is eternal. It cannot die. It cannot be destroyed. Uh, Once you understand that, you have no fear of death. Okay. Um, and that's a difficult thing to say sometimes, but by the power of your own thought, you can summon or connect with that divine source that lives deep within you. And that part of you, the truth of who you are, will grant you the courage, the energy to rise above your flesh and look beyond that and know that all is well. All is well. I mean, some of these things are going to rock and shake the very fabric of the religious communities. No matter what community you're a part of, it's going to shake you and rock you. And in fact, many, if they're not grounded in the fact that uh, the divine God is real, and dwells within you, one with you, uh, then your very belief that there's a God will simply just be shattered. Um, and people will lose faith and lose hope. So I'm not trying to frighten you or burden you with anything. I just want you to be aware of what's coming, what's going to happen, what's going to take place. And the book of Revelation is full of these stories that gives us a view of the future. Now, I do believe, perhaps we cannot change it, but we can effect the outcome. We can maybe change the outcome. As in the book of Genesis, when Pharaoh had this dream, in fact, he didn't know what the dream meant, had no understanding of the dream, of the vision he had. And the butler remembered Joseph, and he called for Joseph, and Joseph gave them the interpretation of it: 7 years of blessings and 7 years of famine. And the solution was simple. During the 7 years of blessings, save grain against the 7 years of famine. And instead of millions dying because of the famine, millions were saved, during this time of famine and drought in the land. So it is the same now, something that is coming forth. And by discovering who we are, by tapping into that source deep within us, uh, we can rise and know the truth of who and what we are, and therefore uh, we would not fear that that's coming, that that's going to take place. Of course, some will survive it, and many will not survive it. Um, but the important thing is that you know who you are, you know who your divine source is. You know that nothing can destroy the truth of who you are. You know that uh, you can, and even if death does come, you know that you can, uh, because you have uh, eaten of the tree of life, you have embraced your own divinity. Uh, you can bypass the second death, will have no authority over you, and you can move on to another reality. You can uh, incarnate again, reincarnate again if you so desire. Uh, and also, you can remember uh, your past life, amen, so that you will not repeat the same things over and over again, because what we don't remember, what we don't know, we're destined to repeat again and again and again until the soul eventually wakes up and realizes, that this is insanity. I've been here before. I've done this before. The closest thing most of you have to that is called deja vu. It's like I've been here before. I've done this before. Uh, some of you have little clips or a deep feeling that you have been this before, that before. A teacher, a doctor, a scientist before. In this life you may be something different. Um, but I'm sharing this with you and letting you know that you can remember, even though you reincarnate in another life. You can, so that you don't repeat the same things over and over again. Are there other realities? Yes, there are. You know, I have visited some of them, and one in particular I remember very vividly. Everybody in that reality, including my mother, was like 20 years younger. And she was having the time of her life. So even though Ecclesiastic tells us there's no remembrance of former things, and that is because we don't know that we can retain the memory of past lives. There's a very interesting book called either Many Lives, Many Masters, or Many Masters, Many Lives. It's written by a psychologist that lives right here in Florida, actually. Uh, he had a patient that came to him that had a real bad hostile anger management problem. And all of his techniques did not work. And one day he had a fluke. He just happened to go down this road in treating her, and he decided to follow this path. And the path allowed this young lady to tell him about her many lives with specific dates and times and places and names. Of course, after the section with her, he researched it all and couldn't find out she was right on. And once she delivered the information to him, he got permission to write this book. See, Spirit is always trying to let us know and give us information. But for the most part, we discount information because um, we live in such a fear zone that the devil is going to get me or whatever. Um, so Spirit is always trying to make us aware of things, so that we will not be ignorant. The Bible says, "My people are destroyed because of a lack of knowledge." We refuse to to look up and live. We refuse to see something different. We refuse to investigate something because it is fear. Understand, evil can only go so far. Darkness can only go so far. You know what I mean? And there's a limit to how far darkness can go. Because light will always win. And once you tap into that light, that divine light that dwells within you, that tree of life, that dwells within you, that you can partake of, you can eat of the divine fruit. Um, it's amazing the thing that you will see and come to know and come to understand in your processing. I always say trust the processing, the process, because the process is always God in you. You're being processed. But we have to openly embrace it, and we'll move along a lot faster, you know. But we fight so hard to maintain what we think we know and what we have been taught to believe. Uh, Sometimes I tell folks, close that Bible, close your book, and learn to sit in meditation, as in the book of Joshua. Meditate upon the law. Meditate and ask for wisdom, ask for understanding. And I'll tell you, it won't come all at once. It'll come bits and pieces. I mean, I've been pursuing this and seeking this and receiving these insights for over 40 years that I've been actively in the church. And I can say really all my life, because I've had questions all my life, about things, about God and man. So it's there for you. I remember one day getting a notice to move. And I'll probably repeat some of these stories, but they're very interesting stories because the Spirit asked me one question: do you know who you are? And I said, yes. Everything changed from that moment once I confessed and admitted that I know who I am. You know, I was in the pulpit getting ready to preach one Sunday morning, and I said, I'm going to tell you what the seven thunders spoke in the book of Revelation. And when I said that, I don't know, maybe 24 orbs descended through the glass in light, about the size of a little oversized basketball. And all those lights came and stood before me and formed a white eagle. And that white eagle moved his wings. I felt it, and he said something to me. And what he said, not yet, not now, it's not time for that. In other words, it was like he told Daniel to seal the book up, Daniel. Many shall go to and fro, many shall be purified and made white and clean, and and wisdom shall be released in its own time. And like he told John, he said when the seven thunders wrote, he said, do not write that. It is not time for them to know that yet. Only that is only for those that will seek it out. Seek the wisdom, seek out knowledge, seek out understanding. And I'm not saying I have it all, but I have what I have received, and I believe it, and I stand on it. So it's there for you. Uh, the worst thing we can do is to be ignorant of spiritual truths and spiritual principles and spiritual things. Now, I'm not talking about the intellect now. I mean, I've read many, many books, many books. I mean, across the board, New Thought, you name it. I can't even think of some of the authors that I've read their books, in my search for knowledge. Knowledge is wisdom guided by understanding in my search. Some were fruitful and some were not. Some I had to dismiss because it did not line up with the core of my internal spirit, my true self. You know what I mean? It was just, the energy didn't match. And so I had to discard that. In some books, I had to put on Chef 19. I wasn't, even though the Spirit answered me and gave me the answer and solutions, I wasn't ready for it. I mean, many things. I remember 30, 30, 30 years ago, 40 years ago, I asked certain questions, and the Spirit brought me the answer, gave it to me freely, openly. And I said, oh no, this can't be. This can't be. I was in denial. And many of us are in denial. See, whenever you ask your Father, your internal spirit, your Father within, that you're one with, you're part of, whenever you ask him something, he's going to reveal it to you. That don't mean you're ready for it yet. You see what I'm saying now? It don't mean you want to receive it yet, but you asked and the Father gave you the answer. Uh, in the best way you can receive it at that time, you know. And so was it with me. It's taken me a bit of 40 years to really come to terms with some things I was given 40, 30 years ago. Things I was shown in the Bible 30, 40 years ago. I wasn't ready for it, you know. But I'm encouraging you to take the time and through the power of your thought, you know, confess that you're one with God in you. You're one with that divine source. You're one with your divinity, the God in you, you know, and embrace that thought. I mean, say it over and over again until it is not just a mental thought anymore. It's not just intellect, but it's now your spirit now. Your spirit is receiving it now. Your spirit is beginning to rise up. That light within you. You know, I had a vision some years ago of that very light. I was you know, I've always been seeking for knowledge. I was laying in the bed one morning in this vision. You know, to me, I was actually there and was manifesting. This light came up from my. I'm gonna use the word. I know some Christians are not familiar with this word. You know, chakras. You know, but that light came up from my root chakra all the way up through my crown chakra, and channeled outside of me, and it illuminated everything. And at that point in time, that I was I knew that I was one with the universe. I knew at that point in time, uh, and I did not have the information I have now. I knew. Uh, I said, I said to myself, "That's the matrix. I'm one with all things. I'm one with the universe. I'm one with everything." And I had that understanding. After that, I began to Spirit began to direct me to read about the chakras and so forth, and how those chakras are aligned. And once that light come up through you, it brings in online and in tune all of your chakras, and it spins off whatever is not a part of pure light. You know, I said in one video, I said, light is order, darkness is disorder, being out of order. You know, so I just wanted to encourage you to begin to seek for wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, you know. Even though it may feel like it's eluding you, it is not. It is that dark side that wants to make you think that and feel that way. One of the things that sometimes oh, it just kind of disturbs me sometimes when people stand up in church settings and religious settings and say, I'm not worthy, I'm not worthy. Well, if you confess I'm not worthy, then guess what? I'm not worthy keeps up showing up at your doorstep. You got to confess I am worthy. I mean, I'm not concerned about what you did last night, what you did the other day, but you got to confess I am worthy. I am worthy of all that God has for me. I am worthy of this internal light shining within me. I am worthy of being one with all things. I'm worthy of receiving knowledge and wisdom and understanding. I'm worthy of that. I'm worthy to know who I am and what I am. I am worthy for this information, you know, and as you begin to confess that uh, and tune into that, uh, God in you, the light in you, begin to rise up, you know, and begin to speak to you, you know. As my grandfather said, it's a lifetime journey if we ever get there, you know. You can't just do it one day and give up. Because, trust me, the dark light, the darkness that's out of order, it will seek to distract you every moment. It will use every means necessary to distract you, you know. But the key is, don't get upset because the baby hollers or something happens on this plane of existence, you know. Calm down, take care of the business, and when you can, find that time when you can spend with the divine. Find that time Find that time when you can get along with to yourself, and just cry out for wisdom, cry out for knowledge, cry out for understanding. And I guarantee you, uh, 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 just like the prodigal son, he had to go through his stuff. He was home. He left home. He had to go through life experiences. But when he came to himself, and see, we have to all, humanity must come to itself. Uh, and as you come to yourself and change the way you see yourself, change the fact that you see yourself as a loser. I can't get there. It's too hard. It's who can't understand this, but you can. But you got to confess that you can. I never confess that I'm confused by anything I hear, anything I see, anywhere God takes me in the spirit. I never confess that I'm confused. I always confess I understand. And the more I confess I understand, guess what? Understand comes to me. Listen, you're not being saved from things outside of yourself. You're not being saved from demon devils of darkness. No. You're being saved from your own self-destruction, the way you think, the way you process things. That's what you're being saved from, okay? And that is something you must do. You must use the power that God has given you to save yourself from yourself, That is your salvation. That is your deliverance. So, as I prepare to close, uh, seek wisdom. Out of all I get, and get understanding, get wisdom, get knowledge. Uh, it will bless you beyond measure. It will enlighten you beyond measure. Uh, as I said on another post, would it profit you to gain the whole world and lose the truth of who you are? Lose your soul. Not know the truth of who you are. Remain in the ignorance of your own divine self, who you are. You know, I've had cars, I've had cars, I've had cars, I've had houses, I bought different churches, but none of that seemed to do it. I've created radio ministry, television ministries. None of that seemed to really give me the answer I'm looking for. Um, and at this stage of life for me, it's about pursuing wisdom, pursuing knowledge, understanding. Because as one man said to me, he says, what would you rather have? $1 million? Would you rather have the knowledge and the wisdom how to obtain $1 million? The man said, well, give me the knowledge and the wisdom and understanding of it. And the man said, that is good. Because to have $1 million and not know what to do with it, the man that has wisdom can take your $1 million from you. And that is true. It happens all the time. If you've never had money, you don't know what to do with money. You go out and you spend it, and the stores get your money. The men already got $1 billion to get your money, because we sometimes foolishly spent it and what have you. So seek for knowledge, seek for wisdom, seek for understanding. And once you begin to call for it and seek for it, the God that lives within you, that you are one with, your divine source, it has a way of presenting that to you. It has a way of bringing resources to you that will enlighten you. He will speak to you from within, but he uses many sources to bring to you the knowledge in the best way that you can understand it. Now for me, he always takes me places and reveals it to me in the spirit realm, revelation, understanding. And if I still have questions, I have a vision of a picture or something. Sometimes that's a book that I went across that I know I'm supposed to read. So the answer's out there. You just have to be open-minded to receive it and seek it out. and then you'll know how to turn your water into wine, So God bless you today. Uh, I always pray that I've said something to stir you, to motivate you, to cause you to look within and find that source, because there will come a time where you need to know who you are, and you will need to stand on the faith and the wisdom and the knowledge of who you are and what you are. And in that day when you're brought before governments and magistrates, and so forth, to testify, to answer, to give an account of who you are, uh, the Bible says, think not what you shall say, for God in you shall speak through you. Amen. Um, so God bless you. God keep you. And I've enjoyed posting this on YouTube today. If you enjoy it, you think someone else would benefit from it, you can always share it with a friend or a brother or sister. Hey, God bless you. Take care.